You mentioned the book, The Nordstrom Way, about hiring with a smile, train for the skill. I've noticed online as I was looking at some of your information, you talk about the book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. And you say that, just personal growth and leadership and this consistency, this is like what I'm seeing with you and your brand and your company. And you share about this book on your website and how that really has a lot of power around the mindset. And I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about the book Mindset and Carol Dweck's work around emotional intelligence and just the overall, growth mindset. So I'm going to open it up because it sounds like you have a lot of wonderful, wonderful thoughts around that world.
Thank you. Carol Dweck's book was groundbreaking in the way that I thought of things. So I'll confess, I grew up, and in a lot of the circles and a lot of the classrooms I was in, I was the smart kid, the talented kid. And so you like that. And that, if you've read the book, can perpetuate actually some not so great thinking and behaviors because you want to maintain that title. And so you might be afraid to take on things that you're going to fail because that really speaks to what Carol discusses as a fixed mindset. Well, if I am smart, then I have to continue to always succeed at things. Otherwise, I am not smart. Like that is my identity. Whereas the growth mindset is understanding that most things can be learned, that failure is part of this. So it was groundbreaking for me to kind of recognize some of these tendencies in myself and work backward and say, oh my gosh, that's what was going on as a mom, to think about how I encourage my kids instead of saying, wow, you're so smart, saying things like, wow, you're such a hard worker, encouraging that behavior. As a leader, we are really big on learning. It's one of our core values. And we've actually built an online university where our employees all get paid learning time and they can access any learning that they would like, whether it's directly related to their job or whether it maybe someday could be. And that is with this knowledge that a growth mindset, most things can be learned. And if you want to get better at math, if you want to get better at graphic design, if you want to get better at leadership skills, it's all there. And so we've invested in it. And what we've seen is more engagement, better retention, growth, a lot of internal promotions, and people who get excited about learning. I thought that I was a voracious reader for, my whole life until I started thinking about, well, how many books does that actually equate to? And it was maybe still more than average, but now that we have dedicated 30 minutes per day learning time for most of us, and I do audiobooks because I can do that while I'm walking or cooking or cleaning or driving or doing any of the other things, I'm getting through so many more conversations, so many more ideas. And so there's a personal benefit to me leveling up, but the real magic comes when somebody on my team has also read or listened to that book and we're discussing how to solve a problem. And suddenly we are using shared language that came from this learning. And that for me was the key that made me decide that we have to keep doing this, because suddenly you're talking about concepts that neither of you knew 6 months ago.